Welcome to the Power of Life. I'm Dr. Jean-Marc Slack. I'm really excited about today's show. I have the privilege of bringing you two fantastic chiropractors who are coming all the way from Colorado to share with us a message that can and will change your life, enable you to experience higher levels of function and well-being, enable you to have healthier children, and just more enjoyment. They've been practicing for many years. They lecture internationally. They have achieved all kinds of recognition within the profession. One of the things that is really interesting about them is that they've been practicing together, and they both come from chiropractic families, and it's really a joy to hear them communicate that and share that with the people they encounter. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Dr. Rochelle Knowles and Dr. Danny Knowles. Rochelle and Danny, thank you very much for joining me on The Power of Life. I mentioned that you practice together and that you come from chiropractic families. How does that come about?
Well, thank you, first of all. We're really grateful to be here. How it came about, well, both of us have different stories and different backgrounds, but we came together in chiropractic school. First of all, I was a teenager and had a lot of health problems that were very devastating and really affecting my well-being. And my mom got introduced to chiropractic. Actually, it's a little more interesting than that. First of all, first 2 years of my life, I had 12 rounds of antibiotics for ear infections. And 2 of the times almost died in the hospital from dehydration as a result of the ear infections, because we had a very medical, allopathic mindset in our family at that point. A few years later, when a child has that kind of insult or assault to their immune system that young, what do you think tends to happen to their immune system later?
Well, it degrades.
Right, and so that was my experience. I was sick all the time. And when I was 13 years old, that had become very severe allergies that would go on for months. My eyes would be bloodshot all the time. I had to carry around tissues, and I'd be dripping snot all the time and really be pretty miserable. And interestingly enough, this neighbor who did not necessarily know us all that well took the time, effort, and energy, because he saw how miserable I was, to actually walk, because he didn't have the internet, walk to the public library and look up drugless healing arts. Because you know that mirrored cabinet that's in the bathroom? What do they call that?
I don't even know. I don't have one. The medicine cabinet.
The medicine cabinet. And my mom's philosophy was that cabinet was supposed to be empty instead of filled with orange vials. So he said, you're not giving the kid anything. You're not taking him for giving him medications. You're not even giving him it over the counter. Let's see what I can find out to help him. And he took of his own accord. He went to the library to look up drugless healing arts, and he found chiropractic. So he came home and said, he was our neighbor, said, why don't you take this kid to a chiropractor? It's the largest drugless healing art. And she could have said, well, there's nothing wrong with his back. He has very bad allergies. But she didn't do that. She took his advice and took me to a chiropractor. And they examined my spine, took some films, did some tests. And mind you, I had nothing going on with my back. However, he found very large curvatures in my spine. And he started to adjust me. And sure enough, in about a month, my health completely turned around. My allergies went away. And that was exciting enough for my mom that she decided to go to chiropractic school.
Well, we look at it from a mom's perspective.
Right.
And for her to just out of the blue decide that she was going to take you to a chiropractor when there was clearly nothing wrong with your back, there must have been a degree of desperation there. That was, that was quite intense. And it's remarkable that she was open enough to hear the connection between what was going on in your body and your state of health. So we'll talk about it a little later. That's certainly the key point here, is that there was nothing wrong with your back, but by having your spine adjusted, your health profile really improved dramatically. You went from constantly sick to healthy in a relatively short period of time. I think that, you know, a lot of people are looking for that for their own kids. That's certainly something that people want. How did you get into chiropractic?
Oh, it's an interesting story. My brother, I have a cousin who's a chiropractor in my hometown that I grew up in, and my twin brother always wanted to be a chiropractor, and he actually practices in Florida. And I was, believe it or not, in pharmacy school at the time. And my mom had started taking my brother and I to the chiropractor because my brother was interested in going to chiropractic school. And I was about 19 years old, and I'd always been sick, chronic bronchitis. I had migraine headaches to the point where I couldn't even take tests in high school. And my brother was interested in going to the chiropractor and finding out more about chiropractic, and we went to my cousin as well. And we went to the chiropractor, and all of a sudden I noticed I had more energy, my health changed, I had no more bronchitis, I had ruptured an eardrum and had all kinds of pretty chronic things going on. And I hadn't had a headache for months, and I thought, I didn't understand how that was the case. And the chiropractor said, well, when your nervous system works better, your whole body works better. And that really rang true for me. And I was working at a pharmaceutical company at the time that distributed medications to long-term care facilities like nursing homes and state-run facilities. And I would always make friends. I would go to the different facilities and change out the medications. And I wasn't taking any medications myself, nor was anyone in my family, because they were healthy because they got chiropractic care. And as I was there, I would make friends with some of the people that were, you know, at the different facilities. And this one day I remember I saw this woman who seemed really with it. She would, you know, knit me something for Christmas, and she was always waiting for me on the couch when I would come in, and I would talk to her and say hi to her, and she would sneak me little treats. And I noticed that the longer she was there, the sicker she was getting. And it wasn't just because she was old. And I looked at all the medication she was on, and the drug interactions, they weren't interacting right. And so one day she was so sick that she wasn't even on the couch. And I heard somebody fall out of bed, and I ran into her room, and she didn't recognize me, and I went there every week, and we were friends, and she, like I said, made me things for Christmas. And she was laying on the floor, and her mouth was all bloody, and her head was cut up because she had fallen out of bed and hit her head. And she looked up at me and said, please help me. And she, like I said, didn't remember who I was. And at the time I thought, wow, I wasn't really sure what I was doing was helping her as much as it could. And I knew how my life and health had changed with chiropractic. And that was the aha moment for me when I realized I need to do this with my life, because I want to help people on a different level. I want to help people function better from the time they're born until the time they're, you know, at a place where they're in a nursing home, that their bodies are working better. And that's, you know, something that I really enjoy getting to see as a chiropractor, is the people that are staying healthy into their 80s, 90s, and that are getting healthy and staying healthy and enjoying their life. So
that's very exciting. Well,